with my part of this webinar, which will actually have two parts. The first one will be mine, about the essential information about grandfathering and downstream user important notification, which means the most important questions like who should do those notifications, what should you do to get them, and when should you do so. And the other part will be led by my nice colleague Jana, who will give you some practical notes on how to comply with UK REACH from our first grandfathering and downstream report notification, and some information about the obstacles that we had and so on. So to start, I would like to say some basic information about the registration under UK REACH itself. It's really similar to EU REACH, as we know. It's about the information on the properties and uses of substances about 1 ton per year. It applies to substances on their own, on substances in mixtures, and also substances in articles. There are also some exemptions from REACH requirements, such as the substances regulated by other legislation, such as medicines or radioactive substances. And as we know from European REACH, the principle of one substance, one registration stays the same also under UK REACH. So we can prepare for the joint registration and the charges for new registrations. So now I would like to start with the grandfathering itself and the first important question, which is who can grandfather their registration, or in other words, who can get their European registration recognized under UK REACH. And this would be Great Britain-based holders of European registration, such as manufacturers or importers, or also Great Britain-based only representatives. And besides them, it's also Great Britain-based legal entities that already held the registration under EU REACH and transferred it to EU-based legal entity between the 29th of March of 2017 and the end of the last year. One important note for grandfathering is that it's not possible for EU-based legal entities to have their EU REACH registrations recognized under UK REACH because it is only a regulation implemented in UK. So moving on to the next important question, which is what do you need to do for the substances on their own? There is some important deadlines. The first one is the 120 days of the end of the transition period, which would be the 1st of May of 2021. The first step you should take is to open an account on the new UK REACH IT system called Comply with UK REACH IT. And the second step would be to provide some initial information about your existing registration, such as the ICA registration number, registration data assigned by ICA, the identity of registrant, substance identity, information on manufacture and use of the substance, relevant information on manufacture and use reviewed by an assessor, and notification of ICA decision related to the existing registration. All of these information should be submitted in a form of Euclid dossier, as we were used to under EU REACH. The other important deadlines are within 2, 4, or 6 years, plus 300 days of the end of the transition period, which would be the 28th of October of 2023, 25, or 27. Which is the deadline that you should use to comply with the full information requirements for the tonnage band, according to Article 10. The next type would be the registration for intermediates, where the deadline is basically the same. It's until the 1st of May of 2021. The first step to grandfather this registration would be the same, to open an account on the new UK Reach ID system, and then to provide the initial information about the existing registration, which would be for on-site isolated intermediates would be information referred to in Article 17 and the confirmation referred to in Article 17, and for transported isolated intermediates would be information referred to in Article 18 and the confirmation referred to in Article 18. The next important deadline would be the same as for the grandfathering of the substance as such. Within 2, 4, or 6 years plus 300 days after the end of the transition period, you should comply with the full information requirements according to Articles 17 or 18. This is a table that should clarify more the other deadlines and which one is relevant for you and your substance. So it is based on the tonnage band of the substance or the hazardous properties. So if your substance is registered in the tonnage band 1000 and more tons per year, or it's classified as carcinogenic, mutagenic, or toxic for reproduction, and it has tonnage band of 1 and more tons per year, or it is very toxic to aquatic organisms and it has registration for 100 and more tons per year, or it is listed on a candidate's candidate list substances as it is at the end of the year 2020. The relevant deadline would be 28th of October of the year 2023. If you have a substance registered in a tonnage band of 100 to 1000 tons per year, or it would be listed on a candidate list substances as it is at 27th of October of 2023, the 4 years deadline would be relevant to you. So it would be in October of 2025. And if your substance is registered in the lowest tonnage band, the relevant deadline would be in the year 2027. So now we can move on to downstream user import notification and who can submit this notification. This is meant for Great Britain-based legal entities who import their substances and mixtures from Europe to Great Britain with intention to continue after the transition period, or who import the substances and mixtures from outside of European Union to Great Britain and have their EU-based only representative, and they want to continue after the end of transition period, or also for the legal entities from outside of Great Britain, for manufacturers, formulators, and article producers who has the intention to appoint a Great Britain-based only representative. It is important to say that it's not possible to submit this notification for companies who are only planning to import their chemicals into Great Britain for the first time. This is meant only for the importers that are already importing their substances. So what do you need to do? The deadline related to this notification is the 300 days after the end of transition period, which would be 28th of October of 2021. And the first step would be again to open an account on the new UK Reach ID system. Then submit the notification that you are already a downstream user or distributor. And the information requirements are stated in Article 127E. This notification will be done only once per legal entity, and it covers all the substances together. So you wouldn't have more than one downstream user import notification number. And after you do this notification, the downstream user import notification number will be issued to you. After this, you need to also fill in the additional information spreadsheet for the substances you intend to import. and then send the spreadsheet to this email address. The next deadline would be, again, 2, 4, or 6 years plus 300 days after the end of transition period. And this is the deadline that you should submit new registration under UK REACH and comply with the full information requirements according to tonnage band, starting with inquiry according to Article 26 as a first step. It is not the obligation to do the new registration if you do not have the intention to continue the import after the 2, 4, or 6 years. One more important note is that this notification is not the same as the pre-registration. Just to show you how does the additional spreadsheet looks like, I use this print screen. It's basically just an Excel table where you will fill all the information about the substance that are required in the columns. You would use one table for all the substances that you intend to import. And I couldn't fit all the columns in one slide, but besides the basic identifiers, you will be asked also to get analytical reports, and there are columns for them as well. You would attach these analytical reports to the email to this table as well. And just to clarify, again, the deadlines for the registration, here is the table, it is the same as for the grandfathering. So if you have registration for the substance in the highest tonnage band, or the substance has these hazardous properties, it's carcinogenic, mutagenic, or toxic for reproduction, or it is very toxic to aquatic organisms, or it is listed on the candidate list substances, as it is at the end of the year 2020, you should submit new registration until 28th of October of 2023. If the substance is registered in would be imported in the tonnage band 100 to 1,000 tons per year, or it would be on the listed on candidate list substances as it would be in 27th of October in 2023. The deadline 28th of October of 2025 would be relevant for you. And the last, if your substance would be imported in the lowest tonnage band in 1 to 10 tons per year, you would submit a new registration in the year 2027.
Thanks a lot, Andrea. It was a really nice overview of the legal obligations and also introduction to some practical tips, practical information. I have one question that came to my mind. You were showing the Excel spreadsheet, which needs to be submitted for the grandfathering notification to UK authorities. Sorry, for the downstream user import notifications, right?
Yes. Yes.
What are the attachments you need to attach to this spreadsheet?
It's only the analytical reports. If you have, you should have them, like spectral analytics or anything of that you would also use in inquiry for EU REACH registration. And also, if you have safety data sheets, you should attach them as well.
Okay, but it's not. It's only if you have them. It's not mandatory. It's like optional to attach safety data sheets, or is it a requirement?
If you have them, you should attach them. But if you don't have it, you don't have to attach the safety data sheet. But you have to attach the analytical reports.
Sure. Thanks. Thank you.
If I can add something.
Of course, please.
So safety data sheet, it is recommended by HCE agency to attach the safety data sheet as well. And they also recommend that you can use safety data sheets to fulfill the templates, because all information is mentioned in safety data sheet and except analytical reports, but you can use this and you can also share this document with HCE, but it's only recommended.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we go to your presentation, I can see that we have some questions related to tonnage bands and deadlines. Two questions coming from Graciela and Robert. What is the registration deadline for volume 10 tons to 100 tons tonnage band? There's a comment that this tonnage band was missing in the table, and I can say that it was missing because it is the same as 1 to 10. So in the table it was 1 ton per year to 100 tons per year. So the registration deadline for substances below 100 tons per year is 2027, October 2027. So there are only 3 tonnage, there are 4 tonnage bands, but the registration deadline for the lowest 2 tonnage bands is the same, 2027. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. My first slide is the same like my colleagues' presentation, so I will continue in a practical part of notification. I mean grandfathering and downstream user import notification. What is the agenda? So Andrea mentioned it before in her presentation. So I would like to introduce you the UK REACH service again, and give you some practical experience. And I would like to tell you something about my first grandfathered registration and my first downstream user notification. And there are some take-home messages based on my practical experience. So as Andrejka said, the UK REACH IT, so I don't like comply with UK REACH, so I will use UK REACH IT because I'm more familiar with this. So this service is similar to EU REACH IT, but in my opinion, it's more practical. You can use this service to transfer your existing EU registration into UK REACH and submit new registration for a substance as well, and notify. So submit the downstream user import notification and transfer your assets such as registration to another legal entity as well. There are 2 important links which can redirect you to this or websites of REACH IT. If you click to the homepage, or yes, homepage of UK of REACH IT. Now I am lost a little bit. I'm sorry. And you can sign in this service, but no worries, because you can use this site as well, or this way as well, because if you click on this column REACH explained, you will be as well redirected to the home page. So it's here. So from the beginning you have to click on start now, and there is a home page. Before you will gain your government gateway user ID, you have to create your own account, and this account is connected to your email address. But the procedure isn't so difficult, and there is a very detailed manual how to create your own REACH IT service. So I will use my credential and will sign in to show you how it looks. Yes, so it's the first, it's homepage of comply with UK REACH IT. So if you are familiar with the European REACH IT service, so you can find that the parts are very similar. So, but in my opinion, the most important part is that there are deadlines important for you regarding grandfathering of your registration and regarding downstream user notification. The Second important part is dedicated to transfer from the EU. So if you click here and here, you can submit your grandfathering and submit your downstream user import notification. If you would like to make a new submission, you can use these 4 links, which is inquiry. You can also submit P-port notification, which is dedicated to research and development and substances which are used in manufacture. So I mean under research and development conditions. You can also submit notification regarding substances in articles. So I mean SVHC substances mentioned in the candidate list. The difference against EU REACH IT is that there is part dedicated to guidance. So this part is will redirect you to homepage. I'm sorry, it's not this page. It's here. It will redirect you here, and you can also find fees and charges related to following registration. So there is a very nice table, and it's nearly the same like fees and charges under EU REACH. So it's about how to comply with UK REACH IT system. So there is also, you can also manage your account. So only for a short overview, you can see the these details about your account, and you also can manage your organization and give access to another team members and so on. So let's continue with my presentation. So what I need to be able to submit this registration, as Andreas said, you need EU REACH registration number, the submission date of EU REACH registration, and substance identifiers as well. And you also have to have access to Euclid 6. I think that the biggest obstacle was how to create the dossier in Euclid 6. I have a lot of experience with this, but because you use Euclid 6 from ECA websites, so there is no templates for registration or for registration under UK REACH. So we spent a lot of time to find out how to do it. So, but finally we got it, and we were successful. So, and the most important, not most important obstacles, but important obstacles, that there are no criteria for validation assistance. So we weren't able to find out if we are correct or no, and if we fulfill all requirements regarding grandfathering our registration. So, and the second obstacle was that you have to choose the right substance in UK REACH IT. So, because some substances are not identified sufficiently. For example, they have no EC number or CAS number. There is only the name or chemical name or CAS name or something like this. So it was, and you need more experience with the identification of substance. So how does output look? After that, we prepare a dossier in Euclid 6 and submit. So we received these outcomes. The first one was details on substance itself. So you can see that you will see in your REACH IT the substance name, CAS number, EC number, and molecular formula. And also there is part dedicated to substance groups. So it means that we were the first one who submitted this registration. So now there is no lead registrant and no intermediates under joint submission, or no tonnage bands. This will be visible after the 1st of May, because it's the deadline, and after that the agency will discuss the roles with all submitters. You can see also the part dedicated to your submission. There is mentioned the submission name, the status that we have the confirmation that registration is grandfathered successfully, and it's about its registration type and the date when we made this submission. The second output is submissions details. So there is the name of your submission and submissions related to the information you provide. So you have from a existing EU REACH registration. How was my first downstream user import notification? So it was not so complicated like grandfathering, because the steps or the procedure is very nice described on a EHC website. So first, as a first step, you have to generate your downstream user number. So you will do it in a REACH IT service, but you have to know the number of substances that you want to notify. It's very important because, as Andrea said, you add all substances in one spreadsheet template. So you also can use safety data sheets. You have to know the classification of your substances, and also you have to have the analytical reports, especially high performance liquid chromatography or GCMS. So it's up to you. So I think so. In my opinion, you can use all analytical reports that you use for identification of your substance under EU REACH, I mean in inquiry. What were my obstacles? So the first very important obstacle was that I wasn't able to find this spreadsheet template. But if you click on this link, you will be redirected to the website, and you can download this spreadsheet yourself. It's very time consuming because you have to fill in all columns and all required information. For example, if the substance is listed in Annex 14 or in Annex 17 of to EU REACH regulation. So it was everything, and also you have to find out how to name your attachment, because you have to attach it as Andrea said before. One practical note, or my personal note, is that it's very nice that you send this email directly to HCE agency, because there are people on the other side and they are very not happy but glad that they can help you and answer your question. As I said before, it is not so difficult as grandfathering, so I think it's very nice to know that there is something what is not so complicated. And how does this output look? So you will gain your downstream user number in this format, and if you will, and it's very nice that there are the future steps. So it's written that you have time and you have to fulfill your obligation by the 27th of October 2021. And the format of email you send to HCE is that you have to write your legal entity name and the downstream user notification number in the subject line. So my presentation is almost done, and I have few take-home messages. So the first one is that you should be patient, because everything is new, and the UK REACH IT system and the procedure itself is still developing, and I think that it will take a lot of time until this service or the procedure will be perfect. And it's very good to know that there are people on the other side, so they are very familiar, or they are used to being so they are used to communicate with people. So it's very nice to know. And the most important take-home message is that we are ready to help you with all your notification, because we are working 24/7 and we are still here for you. So it was my last slide, and that's all. And Tomáš, I think that the floor is yours now.
Thanks a lot. Really, really thank you for this practical experience.
You're more than welcome.
Sometimes we have guests from ECHA watching our webinars, so maybe next time you can show them why you like the UK Reach IT system more than ECHA's Reach IT system.
Yes.
But there were some things that struck my eyes. To both of you, you were comparing the downstream user import notifications and grandfathering process to inquiry. You touched, or in previous webinars, we touched also e-reach pre-registrations. Can you summarize how much workload is it to submit grandfathering notification or downstream user notification in comparison with inquiry? Let's not speak about pre-registration. We all know that pre-registration was very simple, and this is a different beast. But how complicated is it to submit a DUIN or grandfathering notification in comparison with e-reach inquiry?
Based on my experience, I think that grandfathering of registration is nearly similar to inquiry, but without analytical reports. So you need to also create a dossier in Euclid 6. So it's the same like in if you create an inquiry dossier under EU Reach, and it takes, I know that it takes the same time. So maybe we spent one hour because it was our first time. And as I said before, the most complicated thing is that there is no template in Euclid 6, but it's obvious because it's used for EU regulation. Mm-hmm. But I think that downstream user notification can be similar, or we can say that it's nearly the same like pre-registration, because you also need basic information, but more information about substance and analytical reports itself. But from the time sheet, it's nearly the same.
Okay, so of course, you need to collect all the data. You need to collect especially the analytical data, analytical reports. But once you have them, it's quite straightforward.
Yes, exactly. And
it's only different because you use the Excel table and not the Euclid 6, and that could be maybe better for some users that don't have the access to Euclid 6 or don't want to, or like that.
Yes, and if you have safety data sheet, so it's very easy for you because you have all information in one document. So I think it could be very easy.
Okay, thanks a lot. So before getting to questions from the audience, I will just remind everyone that this is not the end of our UK Reach webinar series. Next time, in 2 weeks again, on Tuesday, same time, we're going to continue with data sharing. We are getting quite a lot of questions concerning data sharing. What will be the costs of the full registrations? How will the data from existing EU Reach registrations be shared? Under which conditions? What are the models or typical scenarios for licensing agreements or letters of access? So this is what we want to cover next time. Please, if you want to know more about general obligations on UK Reach, supply chain scenarios, take a look at our previous webinars. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we are constantly adding videos covering different post-Brexit compliance topics, not only from the UK side, but also from the EU side, or simply contact one of our regulatory artists. As Jana mentioned, our Don't Panic button is still fully in operation. And we are here to answer any questions. We will take a look at some right now. We will answer the rest after the webinar. And if there's anything more you would like to know, just come back to us. So let's jump right to it. We already have over 30 questions. So it will be a busy night for all of us, probably tomorrow. A lot of questions we got today are around different scenarios in the supply chain. Some are concerning data sharing. Here in this live questions and answers session, I will try to focus really on the downstream user notifications and grandfathering notifications and how to submit them, not on the general questions, who needs to submit them, what kind of information needs to be submitted, which was already covered in our previous webinars as in your introductory presentation, Andrea. So I will try to focus on the technical side and practical side of the submissions. Just one question before that, we are getting lately. To clarify, will grandfathering relieve me of the UK registration obligations? No. Hard answer is no. It will buy you some time. It will allow you to delay your registration. It will give you 2, 4, or 6 years to submit your full registration, but there is no such thing that you would do a notification, grandfathering notification, and you would not need to fully register after that. It's just a transitional measure to help you compile your full dossier, to give you some time. Okay, so now to the questions we got during the last 45 minutes. First one coming from Sylvie. Regarding grandfathering, should we submit an IUCLID 6 dossier before the end of April? And is this dossier, should this dossier contain the registration number in the IUCLID 6 format? Or a separate document should be submitted, a letter, submission report, whatever? Andrea, Jana?
Yes, I guess maybe it was already answered in Jana's presentation, but all the information should be in the Euclid dossier. You can attach the registration number in the section of identifiers in the first section, I guess. And if you have any reports from ICA, like, I don't know, evaluation or anything like that, you can attach it in the section 13 in Euclid 6, and you will just have it in the dossier, and you will just submit this, and there are no additional letters or any documents. It's only this dossier.
Great, thank you. Next one. Manisha is asking, does tonnage information in the downstream user import notification have to be accurate, or can we submit just a rough estimate, rough number over 1 ton for all?
You have to fill your tonnage band, which was registered before under EU REACH, or if you would like in tonnage, yes, you have to refer to the tonnage band which was registered under EU REACH. So you have to mention that it's one between from 1 to 10, from 10 to 100, and so on.
Okay.
It's additional information, but it's required.
Clear. And Manisha is also asking, is a receipt received from the UK HSE once the spreadsheet has been submitted? Will you get some confirmation?
Yes, well, actually it's sent by email, and as Jana mentioned, they reply pretty fast, so you will get an answer by email that everything is okay, or that you should give them more information And actually the spreadsheet is only sent by the email and not through the comply with reach system. So you will get the answer from them.
Exactly. You will receive the confirmation that you submit this downstream user import notification, and they will inform you about your next obligations in this email as well.
Thank you. It's also nice for me to hear all the practical tips. I'm speaking about the theory for several months now, but now it's really interesting to see how it's actually done and where are the barriers and what goes easy. Alan is asking, is there also the concept of SIEF in UK Reach for cost sharing? I guess I will take this one. Well, first of all, Alan, we're gonna cover this in detail in 2 weeks in the next webinar. But I can already answer that there will be SIEFs, and Jana mentioned that they will start to be established after the 1st of May, when the grandfathering deadline will be over and the first round of notifications will be complete. Then the contact list of submitters of grandfathering notifications will be compiled, and through the UK IT system will be shared with the notifiers to form SIEFs and start discussing their data sharing issues. Irene is asking how to attach all the analytical reports if you need to list a high number of substances in the downstream user import notification sheet. I saw that we got this question from several participants. What in general to do if the email is too large, too many attachments? Is there any way?
Well, I guess we should just get creative and maybe use some system that you are used to, like SharePoint or maybe Google Disk or something like that, and share these reports, or maybe divide it into multiple emails and inform the HSE about this, that you are not able to add all of these reports in one email. And I think they will understand this, and they are old people, so I think there will always be some solution.
And there are, if I can add, there are in the spreadsheets, there are columns dedicated to analytical reports. So they recommend you to use UV-Vis or a high liquid chromatography. So these two reports should be attached. And the rest, if you have a report regarding the, optical activities, or I don't know, MALDI-TOF or something like this, so you can attach them as well, but it's not necessary. So they need to know about real identification of substance.
Have you already tried it to send them, I don't know, Google Drive link or SharePoint link or Dropbox link to download analytical reports or any kind of attachments?
Not yet, but I think it's waiting for us.
Okay, maybe something to try.
Yes.
So, moving on. Maris is asking, should there be only one login per company in the UK Reach IT tool, or can we create multiple if many people are working from the same company?
So you have only one account per legal entity. So, and you can add all team members. So I mean all employees who are working in your company. So there could be, I don't know, many of members.
Okay, so speaking in let's say IT terms, there's one company account, but it can have multiple users.
Yes,
you can assign to this account.
Exactly. And UK Reach IT also allow to add a child account, which is dedicated to another parts of companies. So, but it's more useful for only representative. So they recommend use child accounts only for only representative based in UK, not for companies itself.
Okay, thank you. Marion, can we, as a European company, open a UK Reach IT account?
Of course you can. Because if you start with creation of this account, you are asked if you are a UK based or if you are citizen. But if you choose this option, so you don't have full access to UK for this account. I mean, the service itself.
Okay. I'm not sure if I understand it perfectly. So you have the option, of course, to choose that you are GB based, and you have full set of features in the IT system. If you click that you are outside of GB, you still get an account, but with limited features.
Yes,
no submissions.
Exactly. No, you can submit this information. So to be honest, I really don't know. I don't want to make a mistake, but what I tried, you cannot submit the notification, but you can check the substances and the deadlines and so on. So, but you are waiting to giving the access from I don't know, not from agency, but from the Reach IT system itself for a long time. So, but prior use is that you have to be UK based company.
I can see Andrea that she wants to say something.
No, I don't know. I don't have so many experiences with these accounts, but I guess you can always set the account, but yeah, I am not really sure. I didn't try this, so.
Okay, thanks. Maybe something to get back to and explore. I remember from Reach, EU Reach IT, it's been some time since I used it last, but as a non-EU company, you can still create a Reach IT account, but it doesn't allow you to do anything basically. You can only identify yourself as a data holder, but you have no access to pre-registrations, registrations, notifications of any kind. So it's useless only for data sharing purposes, basically. Maurice, do companies need to submit any kind of proof that they have already imported certain substances in the UK to get downstream user import notification? I'm particularly happy for this question. I made a mistake last webinar when I informed that also new substances can be notified in the UK under new EU Reach registrations that will be filed this year. But then I needed to correct myself that this was not true, and the legal basis is that the substances needed to have been imported in the past 2.5 years to be eligible for downstream user import notifications. But is there actually any proof needed already during the submission, or is it just up to enforcement then to show to the inspections that you have actually been eligible for the downstream user import notification? No answer. We will need to check.
Maybe yes, but if you use downstream user import notification, so it means that you are importer of substances in UK. So and substances have to be registered before under EU.
Of course, it needs to be registered. The question is if there needs to be a proof that the imports actually took place, because that's the precondition. But the question is if you need to submit the proof, the evidence already in the notifications.
It's not written here.
Yes, I think that when we were submitting the notification itself, we were filling the information. It's like you are clicking in the steps, and it asked for the registration number. I guess that we were filling it in. It's not in a form or of Euclid 6 or anything. You will just fill it in the system when you're submitting the notification.
Okay, thanks. We are nearly over. The 1 hour time we dedicated to this webinar is up. Was there any other particular question that struck your eyes in the Q&A window? We already have over 40 now.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's it. And let's get to our computers to answer the rest. I would like to thank you, everybody. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Jana. And thanks everybody for connecting, for joining, and see you in 2 weeks on the next episode concerning data sharing under UK Reach. That's going to be interesting.